What the fuck's happening? The internet. Shout out all my Polish homies. I love you guys. Shout out Poland. Welcome back to the Nance Cast.
Wait, what the fuck's going on in Poland? This is how much I don't watch the news.
No, Apple sent me an email and they're like, "Hey, the Nance Cast is doing really well in Poland."
Oh, what?
So I'm like, shout out
That's
Poland.
dope.
Now I suspect at least Wookie is one of my Polish homies who listens. But the rest of you Polish people that I don't know, I've met a few of you, and you're probably not listening. But for some reason, Apple's like, hey, the Nancecast is doing really well in Poland. So shout out Polish people.
Hell yeah, Poland. Round of a fucking applause for Poland. They know what's up over there.
Yeah. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Nance Cast. Oh shit, that didn't even pick that up, did it?
I heard it.
Oh, then it must have got it.
All right.
Yeah, we are here. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here, Sean and I, to talk about stuff. And we kind of wanted, I wanted to talk about something. And then it just kind of dawned on me that I don't want to talk about the thing that I had initially said, hey, dude, I want to talk about this. Because I wanted to talk about the Epstein stuff and how it's being used ideologically. And not really focus on the salacious details and really any of that stuff, but kind of talk about why I think we should be critically engaging with it, yes, but engaging with it like at the level of spectacle and like focusing on the details and shit like that. Why I think we should like actively avoid the Epstein scandal. And then I was just like, yeah, but I don't want to talk about that. Like, I've said that a few times. I wrote a piece about it. Mikey and I had a conversation with Chris Catrone, and we spent a good probably half hour, 45 minutes on it. And yeah, I don't want to be part of the problem. You know, like there's all this YouTube videos and Twitter posts and all this stuff that are just talking about Epstein. And I think that's part of the fucking problem. So I don't want to do that.
If you click on that shit one time, I bet your feed is just swamped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I haven't clicked on anything with Epstein's name on it, not once.
Yeah. I will say, so the other day, Obama did an interview with somebody and he offhandedly mentioned aliens. And then the next day,
what the fuck?
Yeah, the host asked him about aliens, and his response was like, "Yeah, of course aliens are real, but we don't have them or whatever." Because he was like appealing to science, and
yeah,
like it's just like, yeah, the universe is so large, of course there must be aliens. But then everybody was like, "Oh, Obama just revealed the secret of the aliens," and then. So apparently Trump posted this whole breaking. I told the government to release the alien files. God bless America. It's so now that's in the news cycle. And also just today, I guess, Trump, the Supreme Court knocked down the tariffs, Trump's tariffs. Trump came out and said, fuck the Supreme Court. Not only am I keeping all the tariffs, but I'm upping the tariffs by 10%. And also, I'm stealing $10 billion and I'm embezzling it into this thing that I'm calling the Board of Peace, which is some like NGO that Trump is now. But it's just there's so fucking much going on.
It's like a private like NGO thing. It's not like a government agency that he created.
Yeah, it's a full on NGO. And Trump is like, and by the way, I'm taking $10 billion. And giving it to my NGO, dude.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah. So I don't know.
You can't just if you take $10 out of a fucking till at work.
That's a full on. Yeah, dude. That's a full on. Like that'll ruin your fucking life. That'll derail your life. Won't ruin it, but it'll derail it.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so there's all that. And it's I don't know, trying to keep up with it all. And generally, I don't try to keep up with it all. Generally, I am content to live my life and do what I do, but it leaks in. No matter how much I try to avoid it, it still manages to leak in. And I think it's contributing to like a general malaise of just like, yeah, I don't care. I don't like why like at the age old question, why does anything fucking matter?
And I feel like most people, most of the time, probably feel that way. Just like all these things happening. Like, why the fuck should I care? Like, why care about the fucking world, about the state of the world? There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, and I was saying just before we started recording that like it's I feel like all that shit is like epiphenomenon. It's not the like what's much more interesting in the questions that people don't ask is like we all want to chase this phenomena around and be like that's what the media wants us to do is to care about all the things as they happen. But it's like, isn't it a much more interesting question like why is this category of thing keep happening all the time? Like, why do these types of things keep happening? That's a much more interesting question, I think, than, because otherwise, if you ask why this particular thing every single time, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to be able to think anything about, the main trends in the world or the underlying reasons. You're not going to get to any of the underlying reasons as to why the things are happening.
Yeah. Treat the sickness, treat the underlying condition, not the symptoms.
Yeah.
So I guess all the things that are happening, like what would be the common feature, or like what would be, how could we start to trace these back to a root cause or a root condition?
Well, I feel like looking at questions of like general psychology is useful for that, which is why like psychoanalysis is useful and why like superego, perversion, that's why these categories, these really big categories actually matter, I think, is because like there's patterns of behavior that they're sort of describing about the world. They're saying like it's because we have a perverse psychology, for instance, that's why perverted things are happening. No.
So being like just a normal dude kind of thrown into the world, I'm trying to work, trying to, I don't know, take care of my family. I'm trying to see to all my needs and a reasonable amount of my wants, take care of all the obligations and responsibilities, and then have a little bit left over to be able to do fun stuff or whatever. Like how does that help me, like, to take this general view as opposed to this particular view? Like, what good is that going to do me?
I guess like I've been reading Mari Rudy's The Singularity of Being, and so the first thing that like pops into my head with that question is like I think that it's like useful to sort of, I think it's personally useful to figure out like how you are singular, and to, as much as you're able to like, and this is like in my life has been important for me, is like, where are your drives leading you? Where is your like libidinal destiny? Where is that pointing you? Because I think that it's so easy in this like country that thinks it's individualistic to be like, but the individualism is so ridiculous because it's like commodity individualism. It's like the most conformist thing ever, and it's called individualism, but it's just like, and it's connected to the superego, the injunction to enjoy, right? So if you're able to find a way to find out like, what do I actually want is what it comes down to, as opposed to what am I conditioned to want? What am I just through mimesis? What am I just like finding myself wanting? You know, what do you actually want to want? What do you desire to desire? You know?
So you're saying that all the people who watch the Kid Rock halftime show are selling themselves short?
Hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows? You can't say that sweeping of a thing because maybe.
For sure.
I mean, it's fucking Kid Rock, but it's like, and to me, I think Kid Rock is fucking hot trash, but like, that doesn't mean that somebody else couldn't have a meaningful experience, like watching the halftime show with Kid Rock, you know?
Sure.
So who am I to judge? But I'm also saying that like, yeah, but also Kid Rock is trash. Like, do better. Like, you know? So.
Yeah. Like, I don't think so. Do you know who 4G Auto Blow is?
Fuck no idea.
Okay, so 4G Auto Blow. Do you know who Bubba Sparks was?
No,
okay.
you lost me on both of those.
Okay, so Bubba Sparks.
I'll Google Bubba Sparks so I see because I don't know who the fuck. I don't even know how to spell the other one.
Okay, yeah. So Bubba Sparks was this Southern rapper from maybe 20 years ago or so, and I love Bubba Sparks. Now I don't know what he's currently up to, but
yeah.
He went hard when he came out. But I think Bubba Sparks inadvertently opened the floodgates for a lot of the like quote unquote country rap, Trump supporting rap, MAGA rap bullshit that's kind of currently blowing up.
Yeah. And when I said that Kid Rock is trash, like that is nothing to do with politics. Me saying that, I'm like, I think
it's just trash ass music. Yeah,
it's just horrible fucking music.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Well, and with that, like Bubba Sparks makes good fucking music. Yellow Wolf,
yeah.
Yellow Wolf has made some really good music. Struggle Jennings has made some really good music.
It's a great name.
It's he's Waylon's like great grandson or something.
Yeah.
He's related to Shooter. Like, yeah, but they were doing something with outlaw country and outlaw rap. And like, they were doing something interesting too. And I don't even think
there's a connection there. Like, yeah.
So there was like this wave of Southern rap, outlaw rap, country rap, whatever, that I think is a lot of it's good. Now, a lot of it's probably ass, but I think it was good and not necessarily trash. But there's this wave of MAGA rap that 4G Auto Blow is like the grandson of the dude who started Auto Trader magazine.
Yeah.
So he's like a trust fund billionaire kid. And he looks like a cartoon character. I think he paints his beard on, like rather than like growing and grooming facial hair. Like he did that like permanent tattoo makeup shit. But he just makes like it's ass music. It's straight garbage. Like no one who actually appreciates music can listen to that and be like, oh, this is good. And it's pure signaling. Like, I love Donald Trump. I love General Flynn. I love QAnon. Like, it's just that. And it's apocryphal, but there have been people who have said that they've talked to 4G Auto Blow, and he doesn't give a fuck about any of it. He just started doing it because he got a shitload of money from Facebook, from all the boomers on Facebook. But so like now he's like making just shit music, like TikTok level music, like just straight cat vomit. But he's making a lot of money.
That is such a market, boomers on Facebook. That
straight
is
up,
like,
yeah.
if you can tap into that market. Like,
oh yeah. And so now there's like, there's these guys out there. And I think it might even be split like 50-50. I think there's guys that don't give a fuck about any of it and they're just trying to make money. And okay, we can quibble over more morals and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we all got to eat. So that is what that is. But then I think there's like a lot of the guys out there are genuinely convinced of like right-wing politics, reactionary politics, MAGA, like that Canadian guy, Tom McDonald. I think he's a true believer. But their music, it's not good. So like the people who are really into that stuff, you guys are selling yourself short, because have you heard Prince? Like if you listen to that and you actually think like, oh, this is doing something for me, broaden your horizons, man. Listen to Prince. Yeah. Fucking listen to Bad Bunny. Like, that's not my thing, but hey, he's talented. Listen to Lady Gaga. Listen to fucking, I don't know, explore.
What I don't understand is the lack of curiosity that so many people have, like you don't give a shit about the roots of the very music you're listening to right now. Like, you want to be that shallow that like you don't care where hip hop came from, for instance. You don't care where pop came from. Like, that's so weird to me, because I've never not been like, I wonder who like this artist I love. I wonder who their influences were. I wonder who they listened to growing up. Like, I've never not wondered that. So it's just bizarre to me that people are like they don't care just what's happening right now. And so like people listening to like country rap who don't listen to hip hop at all and would never be caught dead listening to hip hop, that shit's weird. That shit's weird to me. And country too. Like people who don't, like, they only listen to new country. There's so many people like that who only listen to new country, which 98% of new country I fucking hate. But like outlaw country from the 70s, even the 90s, even like Dwight Yoakam. Like, I love that shit.
Chris Ledoux?
Yeah.
Dude, I can sing fucking Cowboy's Hat. You'll ride a black tornado. Like, I fucking cross the western
You've got
sky.
the voice for that shit, dude.
I know, dude, but
holy shit.
Yeah, I love especially old shit, like the roots of country, the origins. And a lot of it was really based. And then slowly over time it became more pop. But even, I mean, Garth Brooks has some bangers, dude. Garth Brooks. Yeah. Travis Tritt, Trisha Yearwood, like Reba McEntire, like these, like, some of that shit's really good. But the new stuff, it's just ass. But I mean, I am biased, so I want to try to be fair. I think the majority of new everything is ass.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. It's just like, there's no way around it. And people don't like want to believe it that's true, but it's just like, there's no way around it. And there's like objective explanations for why this is the case, because there's like four music there's like four record companies basically. In the 70s, 80s, like there were dozens and dozens and dozens. Now there's like basically four. So it's like, yeah, of course the music is going to be shit. And so this is why I'm like, I said this about IPAs, right? Is that like nobody actually likes IPAs. And I'm like, nobody actually likes this music. You know what I mean? I don't believe you. You know, like, you say you like it, but I don't believe you. You know,
I feel that way, but I honestly, so I don't want to go off on a tangent, but there's also, so like, there's these moments, in history where we can see like how the medium really changes. In the 70s, there was a proliferation of creativity. Like hip hop was born in New York in the 1970s. And there's some people that even trace it specifically back to like a citywide blackout. Where there was no power, and so there was a lot of looting. And so what happened was a lot of people went in and they looted like Radio Shack and stores like this, and they had access to turntables and boomboxes and all this production equipment that they were previously didn't have access to. And then there was a citywide blackout in New York. And then after that, all of a sudden DJs started popping up and hip hop was born. And that's a plausible explanation. I don't really know if they're trying to imply anything or not, but like the 70s was this watershed moment in culture, maybe. Yeah. Like hip hop started and punk rock started and lots of new exciting things were going on. And it had to do with democratization. Everyday people had more access to the means of production and distribution than they had previously. Something similar happened with the internet. But the democratization that happened in the 70s, I think it was good. And that's the shit I grew up on. Like that's the culture I grew up on. Hip hop, punk rock, like the underground culture really started there in the 70s. The democratization of the internet, I think is not good, but it's also interesting that it's a continual thing. Like it itself is a churn. Like every time we get a new platform, there's a new wave of people who flock to the platform to genuinely, earnestly try to distribute stuff that they're creating. And then there's another cohort of people who flock to the new platform just to try to figure out how to hack it or how to game the platform and take advantage of their algorithm. And post slop. And it's just like slop. You've got
the artists and you've got the producers who are in it for the love of it, right? You've got the Tupac and the Biggie, but you've also got the Diddy. You've also got the Diddy who's just there to make a fucking buck, doesn't give a shit about any other human being besides themselves, is a complete fucking narcissist and just wants to game the system.
Yeah.
And everything in between. Right?
Yeah. Did you watch that the 50 documentary?
Yeah, dude, it was fucking brutal.
I watched part of it. Was it 4 episodes?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I watched the majority of it. I think I was kind of in and out as it was like playing in my house. Yeah, so I saw most of it. Yeah.
Yeah, Diddy. Fuck that guy, dude.
Yeah.
But I wonder now if there's such a stark distinction between the artist and the slop purveyor. Yeah.
Yeah. It might be like comparing like Dre versus Diddy, you know? It's like Dre he's a producer, but man, he's like in it he's in it for the money, but he's also in it for he loves what he's doing, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I
would say
won't stand for Dre slander. Dr. Dre.
I'm not no contrast to Diddy.
Okay.
Versus Diddy.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
No. Contrast, not comparison there.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, he is, he's a mogul. I guess he is in it.
Yeah.
To get super rich, but he also does care about the art.
Exactly. And I don't think Diddy did. Like I don't think Diddy gave a fuck. Like the art could have been anything and Diddy would have still been game no matter what it was.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's true about someone like Dre.
Yeah. So we have so to say no one likes this, to get back to that, like no one can possibly like Kid Rock, or no one could possibly like I don't know, the weird shit that's all over TikTok and Spotify and like all this stuff. It's all slop. Like, I don't know, dude. I think people do like it now because we've become retarded structurally.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. But like, so then the next question is like, why do we let ourselves get retarded? And I think it's like, this is where it's like, what are you really enjoying here? Like, are you enjoying this because you're trying to, like, this is part of your self-image that you see yourself as like
the type of person
who's a Kid Rock enjoyer? Like, is that what's more important to you? Or is it actually you're having a moment with this music and that music just moved you out of your routine? It changed you in some way, you know? And that's the difference. Like, and I think 98% of the people who are down with Kid Rock are like, no, you want to be the type of person who's a Kid Rock enjoyer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Log on screen. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. Which one is that?
We got dog caramel. That's Charlie and Winston. Winston's the big.
Oh, there he is. I only saw the big one. Which
Yeah.
one's which?
Winston's the big one. Charlie's the little
Winston. Yeah, I only saw Winston at first.
Yeah, he's
my dog is out. I took her to work today, and so she's like passed the fuck out on the. It's like she hasn't slept in 3 days, even though she was just up for like 8 hours. She's a lazy girl.
They're anxious because I'm home alone for a few days, and they're not getting the normal stimulation from all the other people that are usually here. So they're being weird, but
that's my opposite with mine. She was overstimulated. Now she's exhausted. She's an introvert.
The doggy introvert. But I mean, the type of person who enjoys Kid Rock, or the type of person who enjoys, I don't know, noise music, or the type of person who enjoys avant-garde.
Yeah. It's not just to single out the Kid Rock enjoyers. It's also like the avant-garde people. It's also the people who only listen to indie shit is also who I'm talking about here. It's like, in some of the music that they listen to, the independent shit, I'm like, you're not enjoying this. Same thing with Kid Rock. This sounds like dog shit. Like, this sounds fucking terrible. And you're just enjoying it to fit the like hipster mentality self-image you have of yourself. So again, are you enjoying it, or are you enjoying yourself enjoying it?
Yeah.
You know? And to me, that's that's sort of what changed, because, and this is where I go back to Hans-Georg Muller, Prophilicity. I think this is huge. This is like, he did track how identity has changed from the pre-modern to the modern to the postmodern. And he doesn't use that categorization. He doesn't use those terms, but that's an easy translation to make. You can say it was sincerity, and then it was authenticity, and then it became prophilicity. You know, I have a piece on Substack about this, so we don't have to get into it all. But like my comeback to him is only that I think that there is an authentic version of each of those things.
Yeah.
There is like a way in which authenticity is transhistorical. Like, it's not just isolated to like the romantic modern period. But anyway.
Yeah. No, and I think I appreciate your thoughts on that, because I mean I like a lot of what Hans-Georg Muller does, but I also have some disagreements with him. But I mean, he's out here drawing a lot from Nicholas Luhmann, and I don't really see a whole lot of other people doing that. And I think Luhmann is honestly just as important as Baudrillard, and Baudrillard is, you know, one of my main guys. So, but
and Muller didn't come up with actually, I think he did coin the term prophilicity, I think, if I remember correctly, but he's drawing off of the work of some sociologist who was using the term authenticity to describe authenticity and sincerity aren't Muller's terms. He just added prophilicity. But I think it's right. I think it's very like keen. It's very much like, that is the reason why social media profiles are so effective, is because they glommed onto something that was already there, which was begun by capitalism, which is the profile or the brand. And the social media profile is just a personal branding tool. And this is how we think about ourselves. This is the primary way, or the dominant way, I should say, through which identity is structured today.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, again, I think prophilicity owes so much to second order observation. Like that's what social media does to us. It locks us in second order observation. Well, social media doesn't do that, but social media is like second order observation on meth. And so, yeah, like developing prophilicity is I like it. I also think just yesterday we were talking to Chris, and for a little bit, this kind of
Patron?
the
Nice.
impulse to classify. And it's actually going back to Badiou and another sociologist talk about the classificatory drive or the impulse to classify all things. For sociologists, it's a move away from Marxism. It's a move away from class into like work, like traditional Marxist class politics and into more social forms. But it's also undeniable. There is an urge to kind of classify and identify everything. And I think that's what's going on with prophilicity. We're trying to classify ourselves to ourselves by way of the other. So like we're trying to use the other as this external validation source to like I posit that I am this type of person, and if that's received well by the other, then it must be valid. So I must be a Kid Rock enjoyer. So I must watch Kid Rock.
Right.
But
Yeah, with each of these, what we find is like the change is it's ego ideal. Like it's a change in how we perceive ourselves to be perceived by the other.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like so sincerity, the other is very different. In the pre-modern era, like the other is a very different entity. It's like the city. It's like the tribe, that's a very different like vibe, so to speak, than it is in modernity or in postmodernity, where now it's like the global village, is the other.
Well, it's the global village, but it's the general peer, because everybody is empowered because we have been empowered as individual consumers. Like we are the ultimate authority, like that. And that's an innovation of modernity that I like, and I want to preserve the fact, like I do want to be the ultimate adjudicator of, my own interiority or whatever. But the way it's been, like the way we have access to it is by way of the market and by way of being a consumer. And so that's why the profile, the identity has become a brand, because we're engaging with everyone else at the level of the market. So we have to present, I have to convince everyone that I am a worthwhile commodity to purchase or endorse or to be seen endorsing. Like no longer when you're out fucking around or hanging out with someone, or you just kicking it with your homies, like at the level of marketing and branding, you're endorsing them. Like that's why Pepsi and Coke can't, Pepsi and Coke can't be in the same TV show. If you watch TV shows, they either have Pepsi or they have Coke, or they don't have anything because they didn't want to pay for branding. But like in public, everything is, oh my God, I can't believe you were associating with that person. Oh, how horrible is that person? Oh, it's so cool that we're constantly doing this branding because we're marketing ourselves.
And this is why I think that people are not, you're just not having as much fun as we used to have. You're just not. You're enjoying like less. Like maybe you're getting, in the Lacanian use of the term enjoyment, maybe you're getting the same amount of jouissance in a different way, but it's shittier. I'm sorry, it just is. Because like a culture that doesn't dance and people like don't dance anymore is like, that's a dead fucking culture, And it's like, and why don't people dance? It's like, we've talked about this before. It's like, it's too risky. The enjoyment is too risky. It's too much of a threat to your profile.
Yeah.
Right. It's too much of a threat to your identity because you're out there moving in a way that like can become uncontrolled, that you could embarrass yourself. Right. Oh my God, we can't have that on fucking video. Oh my God, I can't have this on fucking Instagram.
Dude.
So it's like we're too fucking protective over our precious little prophilic self-images.
Yeah. The right to publicly act a fool. So on the classification thing, you said and I agree with you, but you problematize the Kid Rock enjoyer. And here, the Kid Rock enjoyer is serving metonymously to represent all the people who don't actually enjoy the things that they consume anymore. We're not picking on Kid Rock or MAGA rap or any of that. It's just a convenient kind of catch-all. But the Kid Rock enjoyer doesn't care about the roots of Kid Rock's music. And yeah, I agree. Like
Kid Rock doesn't care about the roots of Kid Rock's music.
Right. And I think like the things that you consume and the things that you even enjoy in this maybe earnest type of enjoyment, as opposed to getting jouissance or whatever, but like the things that you just genuinely like, you should be curious about them and you should be passionate about them. And I think it does pay off to, I mean, when I started listening to like Southern California punk rock, like NoFX and Lagwagon, I was curious about their influences. So I like started listening to RKL, and got into like the Melvins and like speed metal and thrash metal.
I love the Melvins. Melvins are my favorite.
But like, so I was genuinely interested in like skate punk culture and curious about it. And so I went, and then from there I got into different types of metal and like other forms, and deeper and deeper and deeper. So I do think it pays off to be interested in the roots. However, I think Capital does a sneaky trick with classification, because also in the metal world or the ska world, you know, maybe let's not pick on metal, maybe let's pick on ska. Like with ska, you'll have like infinite arguments about like, is this third wave ska? Is this second wave ska? Is this, you know, two-tone? Is this rock steady? Is like, and listen, dude, I love ska. My favorite ska band is not even a ska band, but I think if everybody listened to them, I genuinely, there's a part of me that believes if everybody listened to Streetlight Manifesto, we could solve all the world's problems. I genuinely, some part of me believes this, and they're not even a ska band. They're something else entirely. But like this, the hyper fixation on classification, like you see it with ska, you see it with metal. Is this, I don't know, is this D beat? Is this black and death metal, or is this death metal, or is this, you know, not National Socialist black and death metal? Like all these hyper subgenres. We do that with all our kind of categories and commodities. Like we have to order everything nice and neat as if it's like put up on a shelf with clear labeling so we can pull it out. And that is appealing to this interest or curiosity, I think, in the thing that we feel. But rather than, because it takes time and it takes resources and it takes genuine curiosity and motivation to explore the roots of a thing. But what the commodity does is, rather than allowing you to discover that for yourself, it says, oh, look, we have a category for that. We have a classification for that. We have a ready-made template for you, so you can be a rude boy. Like, you know, little fucking, like little teenage boy, fucking, you don't have to learn the history of the working class fucking skinhead movement. Right. You don't have to learn about skinheads against racial prejudice. You don't have to learn about any of this stuff. Look, here's an outfit. You can bleach your jeans. You can buy Doc Martens and suspenders, and you can be a rude boy. Like,
but so on that, like, but that style like did come from like off of the streets, right? And it did come right off of the streets, and then it's sold back to us. Like that's how parasitic capitalism is, because people invented the category, right? In a lot of these cases, like someone invented the category of like a skinhead, right? And for people who don't know, like skinheads did not originate as a racist thing. It got taken over in England by the National, what are they called? The National Front. That's Front, right? Yeah. But it got basically co-opted to a large extent by the National Front. but it did not start as a racist thing, and there have always been apolitical and anti-racist skinheads
sharps.
as long as there've been. Yeah, exactly. Sharps.
I'm an old guy, but I was a sharp for a long time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so like, just that's a side note for anyone who doesn't know, but like that shit did come right off the street, and it's just like, but capitalism does, let's see, like, of course it's gonna exploit anything it can to sell you something, so it's gonna take those, I'm gonna use the word authentic, uses of the commodity, because these looks were created through commodities, but the combination of them was done in like a culturally sort of authentic way right off of the street,
Yeah.
So it's using the commodity to communicate something, but it's using the commodity to communicate, look, I'm part of this thing that's authentic. Like, I'm part of this, Whereas like, if you are buying that look off the rack, like there's a total like there's this total like lack of authenticity about that, and there's just no other way to put it. It just is inauthentic,
Yeah.
It like this is my problem with Moeller, is that Moeller's like, authenticity was never real. It's like a bullshit thing. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, no, you can be authentic or not. Like, there's obviously a difference between a fucking, like, yeah, people overuse the term poser in like the punk scene, but there also are posers versus people who like, came to this shit in a different way. You know what I mean? Like, even though people abuse the shit out of the idea of poser, that doesn't mean that there's no distinction, in a way.
I think, first of all, yeah. I mean, if you go to any underground show, and the guys look like just regular run of the mill, nondescript nerds or dorks, like they're just wearing, t-shirts and pants and shoes, and they look normal. You're gonna like, that pit's gonna fucking go hard. Like those are the best shows. Like the dudes who are like wearing a t-shirt and jeans. Yeah.
They're enjoying the kinetic energy. They're enjoying the dancing. They don't give a fuck. They're not so caught up in the fucking look as, like
the fashion.
Not that look doesn't matter at all. It's just like, that's a way to get caught up in it too. But it's just like, are you looking that way because you're signaling like belonging to this group, or are you signaling, or are you doing that because like it's fulfilling your profile?
Yeah. I wonder, and I don't think it's true, but I think it's fun to accuse Crass of being posers. Now, I don't think it's true.
Is fun. Yeah.
Because I think Crass, they're still out. That collective is still alive, and they're still producing stuff. But they were the thing for me when I encountered punk, like it was street punk. It was like we were poor. A lot of us were homeless. Like it was dirty fucking street punk. And there were a lot of bands that came from the suburbs and that had parents who were like lawyers and writers and engineers, and they were like doing like a poverty safari. But I mean, even people like Ian MacKaye of Minor Threat, and Fugazi. I mean, one of the founding fathers of punk and hardcore, and who's a really great guy, and he did the whole DIY ethos thing. He came from, the DC suburbs. His parents were well off, and he like kind of cast that off to really genuinely, earnestly create art. But there were other bands that I don't know. Like that was always a weird tension for me when I was younger, because I couldn't understand people who weren't as poor as me. I was like, no, man, my culture is not your costume. Like you're not a real punk. You have parents and a house and stuff. But it's also true. I mean, look at bands like Blink-182 and all that stuff. Now I think they're posers and they suck ass.
Yeah. They are. They're just like, it's just like, that's a fucking poser. Like if you're looking for a poser, that's a fucking poser. Like a lot of people that are accused of being posers just because they're like have a little bit more money than your family did. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were coming at this authentically, but it all comes down to, do you really care?
Yeah.
Do you really give a fuck? Like you talked about you become curious about the music which you care about.
Yeah.
So curiosity, for instance, is a measure of care. If you don't actually have any curiosity to discover the roots of the music that you're into, then I'm sorry, you don't care. You're mistaken. You don't care, you know? You don't care about the music. You might care about something like your prophilic identity, but you don't care about the music.
Yeah.
So you're not there for the music. You're not going to the concert for the music, which is like that. The second you realize that has to stop you in your tracks and be like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, you got to look around when you have that moment in the Kid Rock concert. I'm imagining somebody had this moment. I don't care. Like, I'm not even here for the music. I don't give a fuck about music at all. You know?
I don't know if that's true. I want to think it's true, but I genuinely think we broadly people, you know, the average everyday person, the working class, whatever, like we can't even be curious anymore. And we can't even have that moment of like discovery. Like that's how vapid our daily lives are. That's how like,
yeah,
just like we're a husk of a lemon. They squeezed all the juice and then there's just nothing left. Like that's how we all are. So I think the people who enjoy Kid Rock today are incapable of realizing that they're not really enjoying Kid Rock. And also the
structurally, right?
Structurally, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like
structurally incapable. Yeah.
Yeah, not to say, oh, these people are uniquely stupid. And again, we're not trying to pick on Kid Rock fans. It's all the avant-garde bullshit, all the fucking weird noise rock, fucking.
We're also picking on people who, I mean, at least I am. I'll speak for myself. I'm also picking on what are they called? I'm also picking people who are too into math rock and shit. You know, I'm also picking on you.
I like some math rock, some mathcore.
Yeah, I'm sure some of it's good. I'm sure I'm painting with too broad of a brush, but
yeah, I think it's gotten a lot worse. I think early.
Oh, the flying banana. What are they called? Flying microtonal banana.
Oh,
I'm picking on you too.
Okay,
I'm picking on flying microtonal. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I'm picking on those guys too.
Because like Dillinger, I like Dillinger, early Dillinger. Yeah. Remembering Never, they're one of my favorite bands, and they're almost unlistenable because it's just so fucking weird and discordant. But if you actually listen to it, then you're like, oh, I can appreciate what they're doing. But that was 20 years ago. So now, yeah, like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. You suck my gizzard, fucker. But yeah, I think
that was the most like new hipster thing I could think of. So I want to pick on them too.
I feel like
that was the opposite of Kid Rock for me. It's like that. I don't know why, but
have you ever heard Neutral Milk Hotel?
Yeah,
I like Neutral Milk Hotel.
Yeah.
I hate the name. The name sounds like some dumb hipster bullshit, dude.
Yeah, it does. It does sound like some dumb hipster bullshit name for sure. Like you can't say I'm into Neutral Milk Hotel because they have such a dumb fucking hipster name.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, they have that album, In the Aeroplane Over the Sea. I think that's a pretty good album.
I think it's great. Yeah. I think it's fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I haven't listened to that in forever.
You should listen to it tonight, man. It's fucking
dude, maybe I will. Yeah.
But like I wonder, because I'm kind of, you know, in this mode or whatever of like, why does any of this matter? Why does anything matter? And I wonder if, I don't know, that's me realizing this lack of like structural ability to deeply engage with all the things that I want to deeply engage with. Like I wonder if I'm coming up against like a lack, and my response to that is, you know, malaise.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, yeah, like I've had just debilitating anxiety recently. Like, just fucking cannot sleep at all. Just because, like, I don't want to get stuck in a situation that's just good enough that I don't pursue what I really want to do. You know, and being in that situation that's like good enough is like just overwhelming, debilitating anxiety because I'm like, it's good enough that I could just stay here.
Yeah.
I could just stay here, but then it would be sacrificing the risky shit that I really want to do, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like it's total death drive. Like death drive is like a huge idea, and so I think it really falls on deaf ears sometimes to people because they're like it could mean so many different things in so many different situations. But like that's kind of the point, you know? It's like it's totally an undermining yourself thing, and it can manifest in so many different ways, but you will destroy yourself and you will ruin your own life. I feel like if you do discover what you really want to do, you know, it will fuck you up in one way or another, more or less, and you'll be more able to cope with that if you're coming from a lot more money than someone who isn't able to, who doesn't have that economic leeway to go explore, to get fucked up, to undermine themselves, who can't afford to lose their job, who can't even afford to lose their next paycheck. One paycheck, they're fucked.
Yeah.
You know, those are so not having that space to even imagine a different possibility from the one you're in now, not being able to let yourself destroy yourself as your currently existing symbolic identity, you know, not having any of that leeway because you're living so close paycheck to paycheck, so close to the edge, which so many people are.
Yeah.
Like there was a statistic, I don't remember where I came across it, but the other day where like 90% of consumption in America is done by 10%.
Jesus, dude.
You know, like holy shit, you know? That's crazy.
That's
so the structural thing is real as fuck, and I think it is structural stultification. Like that is why Kid Rock exists.
Yeah.
Like for sure. You know? So fuck, it's rough out there.
It's fucking rough out there. Times are rough.
Yeah.
I talking about death drive in this way, talking about structural stultification, to me kind of brings to mind the question of politics. And talking about politics brings to mind the question of organizing, I guess. I was having a conversation with a buddy the other day about universal lack as like the only organizing principle.
Yeah.
And his question was, well, if we try to develop a politics of universal lack, and the reason for that is because we can see how all these other kind of positive organizing principles always turn into particularist projects and platforms and programs eventually. Like if you're relying on some type of positive character or quality, eventually it will turn into a particularism. Like it's not a universalism. So that's why universal lack is the only thing that can be truly universal, because it's a negative organizing principle. Or at least that's, I guess, where I'm at, largely inspired by Todd McGowan and a lot of other stuff. But his question was, can it, like, well, what keeps that from evolving into another particularist program? Like if you are always on guard for scapegoating, then what's there to keep you from developing a new scapegoat? Doesn't an inside presuppose an outside?
Yeah.
And my response to that is like, yeah, and that's why it's universal non-belonging. Like it's not. That's why it's lack. That's why it can only ever be a negative. Like we don't belong to the organizing principle, and the organizing principle doesn't belong to us. And that's why it won't become a scapegoat thing. And that got me thinking about Girard and ultimately what I dislike about him, because I think like a universalist program has no need for a scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. And kind of talking about like we're all structurally kind of fucking fucked.
Yeah.
And in order to change that, we would need to organize in some way.
That sums up like pretty well like my own doubts about like universal lack is like the organizing mechanism. It's not that I like think it's like bullshit or anything, but I've had like very similar doubts, you know. And I think like but I think that like maybe it's like we need to remember the scapegoat. Which is why I think Zizek appreciates Christianity and the moment of crucifixion, right? Because it's like it's one way in which we could remember the scapegoat. You know, remember like Jesus is supposed to be the last human sacrifice.
Sure.
You know, it at least in this like sort of enlightened Christianity. Jesus should be conceived as the final human sacrifice. That was the last time we ever need to do that. That's it. It's over. You know. So it's just one way. It's one myth through which we might do that. It's not going to work for everybody. I fully understand that, but it's like thinking about how we can. It's one way to approach universal lack that's going to work for a lot of people, but not everyone, you know?
I don't know. I wonder, I think it doesn't go far enough. I think that's like the problem with like a Christian atheism can never be a universalist project because it's still demands a scapegoat. And even if it wants to say this is the final scapegoat, like it's still like part of the internal organizing logic, the supporting structure that supports it. Like there was one primordial scapegoat. Like I think it has to be that there is no inside. That's the point of like the universal is it's not enclosed. There is no inside to which we can belong. Therefore, there is no outside to which we can not belong.
Yeah. So what I would think of it as is a renunciation of the scapegoat mechanism. Like we're renouncing that, we're done with that, but acknowledging it as part of our history. And I think that's the part that like the history is never going to go away. Like that is how we have functioned for millennia, where we have needed a scapegoat in order to bind us together. I think that is true. I think that is how human society has worked for the longest fucking time.
Oh yeah.
And so I understand like and it's a hard sell for a lot of people, the Christianity thing, especially because God is a triggering fucking word. Jesus is a triggering fucking word for a lot of people, you know. But I guess like that's why I say it's not that myth isn't going to work right for everybody. And I think a lot of the suspicion of it is the suspicion of that because we've seen time and time again the positivized version of Christianity. Yeah. You know, we see that all the time. That's 90% of Christianity, at least. Yeah. You know, is the positivized version. So, yeah, but I think that it is finding a way to also, if we don't want to use that myth, if people don't like that myth and they're skeptical of it, I get it. It's just like, okay, then how? And I'm not saying this is like even pushback or like a criticism. It's just like it's just a straight up question. Like, how do we renounce the scapegoat? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I think we demonstrate that it was faulty all along. And we don't try to erase the history. We don't try to be, postmodernist. Nothing is real. Blah blah blah. Like we see, no, that's very real, and that's part of our history. It's part of our tradition. But it was always a fallacy. It was always fallacious, and I think that's what modernity gives us. I think that's what Kant and Hegel allow us to do, is kind of see the unnecessary movements that we go through to try to belong to something, to look for an external validator of our being, of me. Like we all have a me-ness, and there's a question mark in each and every one of us. What am I? Who am I? What am I doing? What is this? And before modernity, God was the answer to that. You are God's children. You are here because God put you here, whatever. And modernity shows us, well, we don't know. Like that's for you to discover. Like you'll only ever know post factum, like after the fact. You'll know when you're dead. And because that is the case, because we are the unclassifiable, we don't belong. So like the scapegoat logic, like then it allows us to see, oh, we're just guilty of being envious or being jealous or being afraid or being bigoted or prejudiced in whatever reason. And we here is the historical we. But I think for me, like it's getting modernity to sink into everybody. Like it's very much true that the overwhelming majority of people have rejected modernity, and they either yearn for pre-modernity or they dive headfirst into post-modernity. And it's like, no, like modernity, and this is, we were talking to Chris about this last night too, and we've talked about it a lot, modernity, post-modernity, like all this stuff. But I really do think like this is what modernity does for us. It shows us that we don't belong anywhere. We have no home. That is our essential non-essence. We are fixed in unfixity or afixity, whatever. And because of that, that is the universal lack around which we can organize. We don't belong here. That's what we have in common. There's no cosmic reason. There's no cosmic validation or justification or vindication. We're just here. And I don't think holding on to Christianity does that. At least it doesn't for me. And I don't think it does it necessarily. I absolutely see how it can be massaged into doing that. But I don't know. For me, it's like, no, we should be Kantian atheists, not Christian atheists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like, so a couple of things have come to mind while you've been saying all that. And I vibe with a lot of that. Is like, cause like Benjamin Studebaker had this great line, just such a simple line. It's just perfect though. The Enlightenment is exhausted. It's just tired. It's just wore the fuck out. Like it's really at the end of its fucking rope, you know? And I think that goes along with what like you're saying about modernity, you know? And like, but I think like, I think a secular text that's like, I feel like people should make Samuel Beckett's The Unnameable like their Bible, like in a way, because it's like, it's just like pure lack, you know, it's just pure, like that thing that you just can't get at. It's like, and there's no amount of words that can like do that book justice, but it's like, I think it's like a genuinely like spiritual experience to like read that entire fucking impossible to read book, you know? But it's like, I'm just spitballing examples of like things that unite around. And I also think about punk. I also think about, isn't punk uniting around a universal lack? It's like I think like the namesake of my Substack, which I changed the name of my page. But like the namesake of my Substack, which my profile is still No Future, is from the Sex Pistols. That's why I call it that. It's like, it's No Future. It's like, we're all fucked, but we're in this together. We're all fucked, but we're all enjoying that lack together, right? So those are just some like disparate thoughts triggered by what you were saying. So
The Sex Pistols are the posers par excellence.
oh, for sure. For sure. But they're like great posers. Like that album, I'm sorry, their one album it's phenomenal. It's amazing. It's a really fucking great album.
Yeah.
Like I will they were absolutely were a manufactured band, but like that doesn't mean that nothing authentic came out of them. I don't think that, they absolutely were manufactured by Matthew McLaren, but like I think that doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't believe what they were saying, that they didn't strike a chord, that there wasn't something in their soul as they were writing that music. I don't like anything that drawing a blank on his name.
Johnny Rotten? John
I don't like anything he really did after that at all. But I think that something happened in the Sex Pistols that was like, that did strike a chord, and I would call it authentic, despite the fact that I'm more than aware that it was still like Matthew McLaren's like money cash cow at the same time,
I think, I think in many ways, Crass and the Sex Pistols are a great kind of juxtaposition. But yeah, Johnny Rotten, I saw him on a podcast recently. He was doing like MAGA type shit. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been like MAGA from the beginning of MAGA. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course Sid and Nancy, the tragic fucking love story. Also Nancy.
Sid! Have you seen that movie? That movie's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nancy Reagan had something to do with Sid Vicious. I can't remember the fucking details, and it's probably just some like methed out punk conspiracy theory. But yeah, Nancy Reagan is somehow connected to the whole Sid and Nancy thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, what do you think about? Go ahead, wherever you want to go with any of that.
I mean, I think, yeah, I don't know if punk is trying to do something with lack. No, you know what? I think punk is, like initially, just like dancing while the city burns, or playing the fiddle while Rome burns. Like I think that was punk initially.
Yeah, for sure.
And then over time it evolved and it became heavily identified with the left politics. And you could argue that it always was or whatever. But there's still, no matter what, there always was this like impulse in punk. Like, oh no, I'm not just another leftist. I'm not just another communist or anarchist or whatever. I'm a punk rocker. That means I do heroin and I sleep on the fucking street and I'm going to die before I'm 25 years old. Like that was also an important part of punk. And it was
absolutely,
it was like reveling in the loss of our future.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that a bad example then of like uniting around a universal lack? Is that like
I do think
how not to do it?
Yeah, I think that is a bad example. There's a
but is it an attempt to do that, or like a failed attempt to do that, or is it just not the same thing at all?
Yeah, I think maybe it was an earnest attempt, and people couldn't get away from their own particulars. Like they were fascinated by their own immediate experience of the loss of the future. And it was like a personalized loss of a future. So rather than being this structural universal thing, they saw what happened. The future had been fucking stolen from us. But they didn't see it as us. They saw it as the world has been stolen from me. The future has been stolen from me. And like they couldn't get outside of their own particular, I don't know, pain.
Right.
And And so it really did
Yeah,
kind
it
of
becomes
become
so. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it became like this like libidinal like Captain Dan in Forrest Gump. Fuck you, God. Is that all you got?
Yeah.
Like fuck you. I will dance in the ashes of the world rather than doing the boring work of looking for fellow survivors and trying to create systems and structures and institutions that can weather the wasteland or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was doomed to do that because it was anti-intellectual. Like it
Ooh,
was punk was so anti-intellectual, and it's just like Devo got so much shit, even though they're coming up in the midst of like the height of punk, right?
Devo's
In the
punk
middle
as
of
fuck,
it. They're
dude.
they're right there at the beginning, and they're punk as fuck. And like to me, I watched the documentary about them like not that long ago. I had always assumed that like they had all their big hits and albums like it was post punk, you know. But I like the whole periodization wrong. Like they were in the middle of it, you
Yeah.
know. And it's like, but they got so much shit from because all this happened before I was born, so it's like it's all history to me. But it's like but they got so much shit apparently for being too like intellectual because they're like an art band from a fucking college, you
Yeah.
know. So but they got so much shit for being all intellectual, but it's like yeah, but look at the staying power of Devo and how many albums they put out that were good compared to fucking the Sex Pistols who had one and
Yeah.
then just fucking lit themselves on fire immediately.
Yeah.
You know, like Devo and Devo was actually saying something, not just something they were saying something that took 5, 6, 7 albums to say. Whereas the Sex Pistols said something that could only be said in one album, and there was no point to iterating on holy shit, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Like there's no point to iterating on that. You know, it's just like that's it. You've burnt yourself out in one album and thematically, like literally in every way. You know?
Yeah. Devo's punk as fuck. There's a lot of, I don't know, artists and projects that came out of the era that I think embodied the true spirit of punk, or maybe the noblest version of punk that
what punk should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like they went like I fucking like The Cure. I don't know, like in a weird way, I think The Cure is punk as fuck too, and Morrissey is punk as fuck. Like the bands
I fucking love Morrissey.
The B-52s, I think, are punk. Like there's stuff that you wouldn't recognize. REM, I think, is punk as fuck. That's me in the corner, like all that weird shit. But Oingo Boingo and Danny Elfman, who composed, all the Tim Burton sound. And Tim Burton sucks ass, but like, yeah, punk was, I don't know, like this impossible thing because it was simultaneously like determined to destroy itself. It was pure death drive, like just like we're going down. The ship is going down. Not like we're not even going to go down with the ship. We're going to jump off and like hold lead weights on our way down because we see that the ship is going. We struck the iceberg. Never mind Leonardo DiCaprio and what's her name trying to hold on to the door. Like they're just diving into the ocean and trying to get it over with quick.
Yeah. You know what I think about even that like totally suicidal nihilistic move is like, I guess at least you're honest about your nihilism. You know what I mean? Whereas I think a lot of people like they are absolutely nihilistic, but they're fucking not. They're unconsciously nihilistic, but they're not. But they disavow it. You know, they go through life as though they're not nihilistic, but they don't believe in anything.
This is
no fucking soul.
This is the people who want to return to pre-modernity. They are, like they are fucking nihilists, and they just like nothing is real, nothing matters. That's why they're so reviled by the world. That's why they hate everybody, and that's why they hate all the.
Wait, or are they? or are they responding to the nihilism of the world in a way that is phantasmatic?
Yeah,
Right?
no, that's fair.
They're horrified by the nihilism that they see around them, and so they're escaping into an utter fantasy that
That's
could
fair.
never be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. It's making broad sweeping statements like that is totally unfair. And
we all do it though.
Yeah, it's also libidinal. Like those are the people who I identify as. I'm not like those people, so it's easy for me to talk shit on those people. But no, you're right. But no, I do think like this problem of nihilism, of disavowed nihilism as opposed to avowed nihilism, it's a huge problem, and it leads to a lot of the silly shit we do, where we take up classifications and we take up profiles and we take up external validation of our categorization, rather than actually trying to tarry with the absence of any cosmic validation or cosmic justification for any of it all. Because we aren't aware that we can make the world anew.
Yeah.
That's
Which we can.
Well, we have to. Not only can we have to.
Oh, hold on. I got to take this real quick.
Word.
Hello. Matters basically. I've told like if you have an iPhone, you have to call me. I don't know how to fix it. I just don't at all receive any text from iPhones. It's fucking weird. But
I sometimes have that problem too, and my kids have iPhones, and it's like fuck. So I tell them call me if you need something, because like half the time I don't get hot iPhone texts.
Yeah. Fucking weird. Like, yeah, I used to drop them once in a while. Now I drop all of them. It's the weirdest thing.
So what?
Anyway.
Oh, I wanted to bring up NoFX. Yeah. I don't know how much you know about NoFX.
Dude, I don't know that much about them. Honestly, I don't love NoFX because I think they were the first ones to, at least they ushered something in that I hate. Like, I think that, and so maybe I have blamed them for that. And so I think that they're trash because I blame them for what they ushered in. You know what I mean? But like for the longest time, I've been like, yeah, I hate NoFX. They ruined everything, you know. But that, I'm trying to explain is that not. I know that might not be entirely fair, you know.
I think it might be. So
yeah,
so, kind of going back to, I don't know, revolutions in the medium or whatever. The 70s in New York. The late 70s in London and New York and all this stuff. In the late 80s in Southern California, there was another revolution. And it was like the skate punk revolution. Like you had kids that grew up on like punk and proto punk and also like speed metal and thrash and crossover. And it was, I think, a really rich world. And I think California is responsible for some of the world's greatest music. I also think it's responsible for some of the world's worst fucking music.
Absolutely.
But NoFX, they put out, I think, a few records with a few different labels. And they were just a punk band touring the country throughout the 80s. And then in the early 90s, things changed and they went from being just like another run-of-the-mill punk band. And they were earlier, they were more like real punk. They were like kind of hardcore, kind of something else. And I love NoFX, but I have such mixed feelings because they are responsible. They're directly responsible for Blink-182. They're directly responsible for like
they made the whiny.
Yeah.
They made the whiny tone a thing.
Yes.
You know, they made that possible. And that fucking whiny ass tone,
dude.
like that deliberately whiny tone. I hate that shit so fucking much.
But they also like without no effects, we wouldn't have Propagandhi, and I love Propagandhi, one of the best current punk bands. And it's interesting that they've moved into like more metal as they progress and get older. Their early stuff was like punk. I mean, maybe it would fit into like 80s hardcore, but it whatever. Anyway, they gave us Propagandhi. They gave us Lagwagon. They gave us No Use for a Name. They didn't give us the Vandals, but without No Effects, the Vandals wouldn't have been. But also without the Vandals, No Effects wouldn't have been as successful.
I love the
as
Vandals.
They were. Yeah,
Vandals are the shit.
But I don't know. I love No Effects. I think Fat Mike is a very talented songwriter. He understands simple chord progressions. Like if you listen to a Fat Mike song and then you listen to a Broadway musical, you'll be like, oh, I understand why No Effects got so popular, because it's just catchy fucking punk rock. It's just like, I understand. Fat Mike understands songwriting.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and it's going back to the nihilism, every No Effects album since like 1995, I think 1995, is when they put out, was it White Trash, Two Hebes? No, that was before that. What was the one? Now I can't remember the name of the album. Punk and Drublick. That's what it was. That was like their huge breakthrough, Punk and Drublick. And it was after Green Day and The Offspring had blown up. And No Effects is also responsible for Green Day and The Offspring. And so is Greg Graffin from Bad Religion. Bad Religion doesn't get off the hook either.
I like both Green Day and The Offspring a lot.
I love their early shit.
I'll tell anyone that I like fucking Green Day. I think Green Day's early shit is better than their later shit, but like, to me, I think the people who are just like super down on Green Day, I think that they're
posers.
They're just fucking jealous. They're just fucking that's all it is. Like success is not evil. Sorry, it's not. But like, yes, Green Day is fucking good.
We're all dirty punks. Yes, we can't be successful. But I think No Effects is also partly responsible for that sentiment too, because like after probably 95, maybe 97, every No Effects album was kind of just this like gleeful, nihilistic celebration of the end of the world. Like it really was just like, let's just do a lot of drugs, make songs about doing a lot of drugs, write a couple songs about how we're sad that we're killing people in Iraq, or like kind of to keep up appearances or whatever. But it really is just like nihilism, just like vomiting nihilism for the last 25 years. It's like, that's what No Effects did. And that's what kind of tarnishes for me their legacy or whatever. I think that early note from like 83 to like the late 90s or 97 maybe, No Effects is fucking amazing. And then after that, it's just the same song over and over and over again, and it's just celebrating this nihilistic impulse to like overdose or like whatever.
I love how like it's like liberal in terms of enjoyment, like enjoy whatever you want. And this is what the left believes is like, enjoy whatever you want. Virtue isn't real. Having a hierarchy of desires that's oppressive and evil, but like the war in Iraq was bad. And that's my politics. Like, only things that I cannot change matter politically. Like, only things I cannot change. Anything I have power over, it doesn't matter. Anything. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you actually have power over yourself. You know, obviously there's structural problems with that. But it's like, and so this is, to me, I'm like, this is why the left is dead.
Yeah.
Though, you know?
Well, that speaks to the failure to kind of live up to modernity. Like modernity is this moment where guess what? You finally do have power over yourself. You finally do. And so those are the things that you should care about.
Yeah.
But rather than caring about those things, you have to care about Iraq and fucking free Tibet, save the whales. But like all, and these things matter. These things are important.
Yeah, they do. They do matter. I agree. Free Tibet. I just think you're a cunt if you put it on the back of your fucking car. But I agree. In principle, I agree. You know?
Yeah. But when Free Tibet gives you permission to be like a toxic, nihilistic, destructive,
for real.
Yeah.
That's what happened to Portland. That's why the city fucking sucks. That's why I'm like, people who haven't like lived in Portland or spent a lot of time there don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm like, this happened to an entire city where it's like the bumper sticker on your car is an excuse to be a piece of shit, to be an inconsiderate fucker, and to not care about anyone else outside of yourself because I have a bumper sticker that says I care.
Yeah.
That's like what the left has done. It's decided that if I check the right opinion boxes, I can behave however the fuck I want because this is what legitimates me as a good person, that I have the right opinion boxes checked. That is like the Democratic Party politics.
So I'll agree that that's Democratic Party politics. But is that what the left has done, or is that the...
Well, in as much as the left has been co-opted and had its balls snatched by the Democratic Party almost entirely, then yeah, like it's been, what I'm saying is the Democratic Party has basically co-opted the left. It's all trickle down from the Democratic Party. Even anarchists are like, it's just like anarchists are basically today, they're basically just ultra Democrats. They're just Democrats who don't vote.
Okay. That's funny.
I mean, and broad brush. So I know that there's exceptions to the rule. I know that. I know that there are fucking base people who still think of themselves as anarchists or who have even newly come into a kind of anarchist ethic. I know that, but I'm just making a very broad generalization.
Yeah.
This is the fucking thing, you know?
So would I be falling to the temptation, to the classificatory impulse to say those people aren't real anarchists, and to say that's not the real left, and to say you were right initially when you said the left is dead? And
dude, that brings out a really important tension, because like we do make these categorizations for like genuine reasons.
Yeah.
Right. But also the market loves to glom on to our categories and then sell us back images of the very categories we've made.
Yeah, you can go to Borders Books and you can buy this Neutral Milk Hotel vinyl, and that means you're an anarchist. You don't have to, I don't know, like struggle. You don't have to engage in any kind of mutual aid. You don't have to like try to organize at the local level, or maybe you can't do that. So maybe you like read theory and you try to understand problems and you try to figure out where you can fit in and see if you can be of any use. You know, you don't have to do any of that. You can just go buy this, vinyl record. It comes with a bumper sticker and 25% off at Starbucks or whatever, and you're an anarchist. But I like, it sounds stupid to say like those people aren't real leftists, but it's also true. Like you said it. The left died.
Yeah. It's dead, but there's also like the zombie version of it.
Yeah, the zombie
there's this undead. There's this undead version of it that just keeps going for no particular reason other than people need something to say that like, this is me, this represents me.
Yeah, it's a profile. It's an external validator. It slots in for the identity when we structurally are barred from developing identities, and barred from seeing like, oh, we do have this in common. What is this thing that we have in common? This thing that we have in common is the death of the future. This thing that we have in common is also ultimate eternal contingency. Like the process of becoming. Like we have that in common as well. Mm-hmm. But all that stuff is hidden. All that stuff is hidden behind the leather jacket, the Liberty spikes and the mohawk, and the the bumper sticker and the vinyl records and stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What would, I don't know, would it be like, are there people currently right now in Portland in these bookstores, probably reading books, drinking coffee? Like, is there anything going on there at all, or should we do something else? Like, do you think you could?
Dude, so Portland is full of fucking like fake motherfuckers, but in like pretentious people, but it's also full of like, there are also real people in Portland. It's not like every single person is like a completely worthless piece of shit, but it's like there is this general like vibe of like just complete like inauthenticity and pretentiousness, you know? But it's like when I do get to have a conversation with someone, I can have a conversation with someone who's really like, I can meet people who are really doing it. I can meet single individuals who are doing their very best to actually live like find an authentic path for themselves.
Yeah.
I cannot find a group that is doing that in any way. And I don't know if that's even possible to do as a group. And I think that presents a problem for a question, at least for the issue of like organizing around a universal lack, because it's like, can we lack together? And how do we lack together? I think it's possible, but I think it requires like it requires an actual community, something like what hold on, it'll come to me. Weapons of Mass Instruction, John Taylor Gatto. Something like what John Taylor Gatto talks about as like a community is where people suffer together.
Yeah.
Whereas a network is where we all suffer alone. Like you work, your place of work is a network. Yeah. Like you don't suffer with your coworkers. Whereas a community is where you suffer together. So very different from like Todd McGowan's use of the term community, and it's a use of the term community which I like a lot better. Is John Taylor Gatto, because it's like, I think if we throw out the word, we're giving ground.
Yeah.
On the word, you know. Whereas like I don't think it's one of those words I don't think we should give ground on. That word has to be fought over.
Yeah.
You know? Community. But I just don't think we know how to do that or how to even start. Like thinking about and practicing community in that way.
Yeah, what yeah. I mean, suffering together. I think for many people, they don't even suffer with their immediate household. You go to work, like you're isolated and alienated all day long at work, and then when you come home, you plug into the fucking matrix and you're suffering, and you might be right next to someone on the couch and they're suffering too, but we're already sundered from one another because we plug into the fucking matrix. So I don't know how, because I do like that. Like a community is you suffer together. That evokes family, and that evokes like, yeah, ultimately, like the family is this place where you can do what needs to be done, and you're not worried about return on investment, and you're not worried about the commodity form. Like you're worried about like, these are the chores. This is reproduction, bare reproduction. This is what is required to reproduce the bare minimum, like sustenance conditions. And then from there we can go on and we could do all these wonderful things. But there's there's a basement. You gotta clean the basement. You got to do the chores. In family, you can do that. You divvy up the chores. I'll cook, you clean, you sweep, you mop, you take out the trash, you fucking pick up the poop, all that stuff. But like family's broken. Like you go to a suburban home, the everyone is on the couch on a device, or everyone is in their bedroom on a device. Like,
yeah. And speaking of like the 70s, even the 60s, even the 50s, is like a lot of the time we have this nostalgia for a time that I think made the world we are living in now inevitable. Like the television was like where a bunch of this started, and that started with fucking The Greatest Generation, you know? That started in the fucking 50s. That started a long time ago. And like people were talking about how television is ruining the social experience of the country way before cell phones even existed, you know?
yeah.
And they had a point, and no one took them seriously. Like, amusing ourselves to death.
Yeah.
No one took that shit seriously. Everyone was like, yeah, it'll be fine. But that normalized or made it easier to be together and alone at the same time. I think it made it easier to do that. But it's also like that had to have been going on before television was invented. Otherwise, it would have been seen as this like incredibly, Jesus Christ,
blowing up.
I don't even know who this is.
Hello, we are calling to inform you about your vehicle's extended warranty.
No, it's like not that. Oh fuck! God damn it. Yeah, some warranty. Fuck. Fucking warranty. Good one. Oh, this is a work thing. Sorry. God damn it. I should probably call this guy back.
All right, cool. I'll pause.
No, never mind. I'm going to ignore it.
Word. Yeah, dude. Fuck work. You're at home.
He can leave a message. I don't know why he wants to call me. He has everything he needs. Anyway, what the fuck were we talking about before I was so rudely interrupted?
TV and being alone at home, and it had to happen. Like, and I think it was happening before TV. It was happening with the radio. It was happening with newspapers, books. Yeah.
Well, everyone always talks about the radio as like a place where you came together to like be around the radio, which is weird. And then TV is like you only come together to be around the TV to not be together. You know,
I do think
which is weird, but like what I like the point with the TV that I was trying to make is just that like there had to have been a cultural problem that made it acceptable for us in the first place to think it's okay to be together and also be lonely at the same time. Like there had to be something, a cultural problem there first. And I want to say it has something to do with the commodity, but it's, you know,
yeah, I mean, I wonder. So first of all, yeah, I do. It is true. The image and the oral is different than like just listening to the radio. Phenomenologically, it presents differently than watching TV. So there is like a qualitative difference. But it's also true that going back to the alphabet changed the way we were with each other, because before we had writing, if we wanted to preserve something, we had to keep it alive by speaking it. And so the social bond was different. So every technological revolution destroys the old world, and we have to construct a new one around it. But yeah, we failed to do so in the wake of the television. But that's interesting. I wonder what allowed that in the first place with the TV. I wonder if could it have just been like, I don't know. You think back to
Oh, go ahead and finish your thought.
I think back to the post-war era when TV started getting big. I can imagine, you know, the husband works a lot. It's like Don Draper. He's an alcoholic. He's out fucking hoes. The wife is on barbiturates. She's neglected. The children, I don't know, maybe the son is, I don't know, maybe he's gay and he's afraid to tell his dad or whatever, like family problem, like domestic, like the festering problems of domestic. I feel like looking at the 50s versus the 90s, the domestic problems were different and they were still very real. Or even today, the 50s and today, there's still a lot of domestic problems. But I feel like families oddly have more opportunities to come together because in general, I think people are drinking less and I think people are cheating on each other less. And I feel like we actually weirdly have more quote unquote family values now than we did in the 50s.
Right. Was it Jim Beam that just has halted all production?
Yeah.
Like dude. For like, they plan on for like 5 years. They're just like,
based, dude. Yeah. But
I think wonder, like, I have one word for like the explanation to me of like where this became possible in the first place to not have family, to only care about the image of the family and not actually care about your family at all.
Yeah.
Like, suburbia, like the suburban dream for sure. But the one word is Americanization. Like if you think about just before that, like a couple generations before the 1950s, I mean, people were still had German culture. Not that long before that. Like they retained some of their immigrant culture.
Yeah.
You know, there are no German Americans. Like it left, you know, they're all completely Americanized, which is just another way of saying acculturated to the commodity form, you know, and just like, this is the primary way through which I get my enjoyment. This is the primary way through which I structure my life is to work more, to consume more.
Yeah.
You know, and to compete with each other about how much we consume, which is then you just lose all your, like, my family is Irish, Norwegian, and German primarily. We have zero Irish traditions, zero Norwegian traditions, and zero German traditions.
Yeah.
At all. Like none. We don't remember any of that shit.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's like, that was culture. What we have now, I don't think it's the same. It's like this Walking Dead culture. Like,
I like that.
That's why I call it pseudo cultural. You know?
I like that. I think,
and people always freak out when they're like, I hear this all the time where people are like someone said to me when I was doing my route when I used to work for FedEx, they were talking about like truckers from India who have the big decals on the back of their truck.
Yep.
And this was like a white person, and they have those like tassels hanging in their, and like they were talking about a truck that drove by who had this giant fucking like thing from their culture like plastered across the back. And they were like, well, if you and I were to do that, like then we would get in so much trouble. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they were like, if I put white power on the back of my my truck for work, I'd get. And I'm like, that's not the same fucking thing. Like white isn't a fucking culture. Being a Sikh is a culture. Being a German is a culture. Being a Norwegian is a culture, right? But being a fucking white person, no, that's just like Americanized. You've lost all tradition.
Yeah.
And this is why we have to look to the 1950s as a tradition. Bitch, there's no tradition there.
Yeah.
It's all gone already. And so even the time that we look back to be like, this is traditional America, you're just looking back to postmodernism. That's just postmodernism already. You know, it's already gone. Everything solid has already melted into air.
I like that, dude. I think, first of all, speaking of like immigrants, I just popped into my head. I knew this Bosnian girl and she rocked my world and yeah, but yeah, I will forever remember her. But the Americanization, the whiteness. White is not a culture. White is the absence of culture. Like I like it a lot. Americanization, it goes really well. It goes really, really well with like a Baudrillardian view of what's happening, simulation. However, that is an instance of organizing around a particular lack. Like whiteness was organized around the particular lack. Now, that particular lack would be people coming to America. And they came and they assimilated and they had to leave, you know, the old world and the old traditions behind. And so they found themselves in a new land. And that's a lack. Like it is a new place and there's no overarching kind of general structure to kind of show you how to be. There's no big other. Not to say there's no big other. There's no one big other. There's competing big other. There's competing cultural norms and social ways of being and this and that. So in the lack of having one organizing principle, it seems to be the case that capital innovated around this particular lack and generated the category of whiteness or Americanness or whatever. And I think for me, that just demonstrates the power of organizing around lack. Like it wasn't a organizing around positive qualities or traits. It wasn't like, oh, the Germans and the Polish people and the Irish people, like they were very, very different. They didn't share positive particularities.
No, they fucking hated each other.
Yeah. And so they organized around this one particular lack and generated Americanness or whiteness or whatever, which is just but it's still a negative. Like it's never positivized because now
I think whiteness is totally positive. Don't you think? Like
I don't think so because we have people
you don't
now.
Think so?
We have all the Groypers, and there's a shitload of Indian and Pakistani and other. I don't know. There's a lot of people who aren't of European heritage or of white European heritage or whatever, who are now part of the project of whiteness. Like, what's the fucking guy, the FBI guy? Cash Money? Fucking.
Yeah, Cash Patel.
There are no Epstein files. There are no Epstein files. That fucking guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's a white supremacist, dude.
Yeah. People become Americanized really fast. Like tons of I think I don't want to single out any particular group, so I'm not going to say any particulars, but I think like a lot of people, like it only takes like a generation or two, and then suddenly you're like Americanized, and you might not think of yourself as like white, but like you're fully Americanized and you act exactly like all the other white people. Yeah, it happens really quick. Yeah.
Well, and I think it remains. I think it remains a negativity because it's amorphous and it changes over time and it's not really connected to anything particular, and it's always used to exclude and it's always used to ostracize and it's always used to justify the logic of scapegoating, but it's never really locked down what is whiteness or Americanness or traditional family values, any of these things that kind of serve the same role and they are ultimately the same thing. Like it's never really locked in. Like, I don't know, Irish, I'm mostly Irish and then the rest is Native American. Like Irish, our tradition is poetry and you know, singing songs and love and joy and being downtrodden. Like we have a positive tradition. Like it's romantic, of course, but like, that's a positive tradition. And then like Native Americans, oh, we're warriors and we're in touch with the earth and we're like, yeah. So there's these positive traits. What are Germans? They're good at engineering. What are Koreans and Japanese? They're good at math. Like for all this is reductive and silly and yes, probably racist, but there's positive things that we can apply to everybody. But when it comes to America, what the fuck is America? What is white? What are white people? We're good consumers. Or
So
we're not even good consumers. We're trying to be good consumers. We're trying to live up to the superegoic commandment to be good consumers, but we're always necessarily failing. This goes back to what you were talking about a while ago with the superego and the number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So correct me if I'm misunderstanding, but like, is whiteness the example of like organizing around a lack?
Organizing around a particular lack.
Oh, okay. A particular lack. So that's the thing when it comes to organizing around a universal lack is, what's an example of that? Like, that's the hard part is like,
Yeah.
that's really my deadlock with it is I'm just like, that sounds like great in theory, literally in theory. But I'm like, what would name a time when that happened?
That's what Kant and Hegel tried to give to us.
Yeah.
But it didn't work because capital came in and it fascinated us with the commodity and it fascinated us with this logic of categorization, classification, inclusion, exclusion. But like I think Kant and Hegel or modernity, Descartes, Kant, Hegel, like I think modernity can only be culminated or actualized when we organize around universal lack, because that's the moment when universal lack becomes possible for us. So modernity is this parallax where universal lack becomes possible. It previously wasn't because it was your king or it was your god or it was the priests or whatever it was. Like that was your organizing principle. You're a Dalmatian or you're a Sicilian or you're a thespian or whatever. But modernity gave us this truly the opportunity to be global citizens.
Yeah. And that's like, I feel that shit about modernity because like I like to think I'm a conservative for modernity, but I also don't really know what that means because I don't know how we get modernity without it immediately sliding into this exhausted enlightenment, you know? It's like being nostalgic for the 1950s or something. It's like that made the world we live in possible today, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, even if we're nostalgic for the 60s or whatever, like we're nostalgic for a time that would inevitably lead us to where we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
well, I think the thing is it's not to say we should be nostalgic.
Yeah.
It's not to say we should maybe not even take up the language. Like maybe talking about modernity in this way isn't the right way to talk about it. I that's what it is. Like modernity is this moment where it all becomes possible. Descartes, Kant, Hegel, the Industrial Revolution. Yeah. Like there's all these things, this confluence of history, or like we arrive at this moment. And yes, capitalism is a part of it. Like capitalism freed us up from the old world. But we didn't seize the moment, and so we fell back into simulations of old structures of power and authority.
Yeah. It's regressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like to talk about it, it's like it's almost like trying to explain, well, I can't tell you because that'll ruin it. Like it's, like,
yeah.
But also that's true. Like it is that like,
right.
we can't language it. We just have to like allow the radical human spirit to come upon and discover it for itself.
Dude, that part, because I feel like I don't care in what sense people want to take this. It's like people's particular metaphysics on this question, it doesn't matter to me. But like, I feel like the object of philosophy today is to remind people and to convince them that you actually have a soul, actually. And again, and I don't give a shit about whether you believe that means that you have like this thing that'll go be with Jesus forever. That's really who you are. If that's how it works for you, then like great. I don't give a shit. But like no, there is a singularity of being, that there is like not that it's this like authentic core so much, but there is this like it's the way in which you lack is different from the way in which everybody else lacks.
Yeah.
You know? And so to me that has a lot to do with soul, and like reminding people that you actually exist, you actually are free, you actually have a soul, and convincing people that that is the case. I feel like that's what philosophy is for right now.
So for the average everyday person, why does that matter?
Because it is what matters. That's why it matters. Because it is the locus of care and love itself. So it's a choice between love and nihilism. In other words, it's a choice between life or oblivion. So does it matter for the particular person? Like, will it make you rich? No.
Fuck
will
no.
Will it make you into someone who will single-handedly save the world? No. But that's not how the world is changed, right? It's not changed through I don't think singular heroic acts.
Yeah.
No.
It's a cumulative process. Is there any, and I think I have an answer to this question. But is there any evidence or any good reason to keep caring?
I think that the reason to keep caring is because like you're a constitutively caring being. That's what humans do. We care. So it's sort of like an impossible decision because the impetus to make the decision lies inside of the decision.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's no reason to care outside of care.
Yeah.
You know, so it comes down to this like fundamental choice. And I think confronting people with that decision, it's either the decision to care, you know?
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yeah. I like that. And I think that tracks with what I think my answer is. Does that give you hope that any of our efforts will be effective at changing the things that are causing so much of the dismay and despair and suffering in the world today?
No, not really. Not really, because I don't think like giving some glib, corny answer like love will change the world like does anything for anyone. It just becomes another bumper sticker, you know. It literally like almost that is a bumper sticker already, like you know, like, but. I think that like structurally at a larger scale, it's like the thing that we have to seize is caring. And that's just the impetus to begin to imagine something which could could actually structurally challenge the could actually structurally challenge the structures is what I'm trying to say. Like, we have to figure out something that can, like, if capitalism is a feedback loop, there has to be a feedback loop the other direction in order to deal with capitalism, right? There has to be a countervailing feedback loop, or something that burrows from within and somehow splits off the feedback loop that capitalism is doing and channels it in another direction, you know? But it's going to be a feedback loop action that's going to need to go up against a feedback loop, you know, in some way or another. Like, you have to fight on that level. And so I guess that's my only answer, and that's the best I can do, is I think that, like, seizing care is the way to begin to build some kind of structural counterpoint, or some kind of structural, even whether it's parallel or opposed directly, you know, to the structural feedback loops that exist.
Yeah, I like that.
Does that make any sense? Does that make sense? Yeah.
No, because it's like to do like the cross stitch embroidery Borders books answer to that question. No, but because no, yes. Like it's like, no, I don't have any hope that anything will change. But because I don't have any hope that anything will change, like that's it. Like what if you can get that and get people to seize care, like that's it. And then that's a precondition for anything happening. So like we shouldn't even be concerned. We shouldn't even be trying to do this and say, we're going to change the world. We're going to make the world a better place, or we're going to rule the world. We're going to assert our, like, no, we can't do that, because we can't. Yes. We functionally, structurally cannot. What we must do first is getting people to seize care. And then history can restart again, to be crass with the metaphor of the end of history. But I like that. That also.
Yeah, this is preferring not to, right? This is like libidinally disengage from the churn. You know, like, just stop giving a shit. Go with if you feel nihilistic deep down and you've covered it up, go with it. You know, uncover that a little bit, like pull on that string a little, like maybe not all at once.
Yeah.
Like maybe not too fast, but like pull on that string a little and like let yourself be like, oh yeah, nothing fucking matters. And I feel like that's the starting point for things mattering again. Yeah.
Or truly mattering for the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So talking about capital and the feedback loop, I wonder, and this is something Mikey and I have been talking about with a lot of other people. We've been asking them, like, what are your thoughts on techonomics? Basically, techonomics being that currently, at least, and not necessarily, but at least currently, technology and economics are functionally the same thing. Like capitalism is the motor of technological advancement. First of all, what do you think on that? Like, do you agree with that or not?
I mean, absolutely. Wait, but no, I and also absolutely not. Like, I think it's really overblown the extent to which capitalism advances technology. Just because, like, you guys were talking about the light bulb example, like that we have that shit, but we don't have it because of capitalism. But that's an advancement that's held back deliberately by capitalism. And the more monopolistic capitalism is, the more it tries to stop technological advancement, right? War, that's a great vehicle of technological advancement also. And I don't think it should be underplayed the extent to which warfare is like, that might be a greater drive throughout history than capitalism, you know? Capitalism can, if it is managed well and competition is maintained, this is a place where I'm with Hayek, is like if you maintain and manage capitalism well so that there is plenty of competition, then we don't have to resort to war necessarily because we have the technological advancement through competitive capitalism. But non-competitive capitalism which is basically like eating its own tail, that it loses its technological, momentum.
For sure. And that's why the emphasis on currently. But is war in the post-war world, or maybe in the post-Soviet world, or maybe somewhere in between, is war different from capitalism, or is war just a symptom of capitalism in the world we live in today?
In the world, well, I mean, just it's a symptom of capitalism, but only to the extent that like capitalism is everywhere and defines our world. You know what I mean? I don't think we can blame capitalism for war because there was always war before capitalism.
No, well, I think, war is an excellent kind of tech accelerator. I think the most effective tech accelerator is curiosity. I think technology is the skilled application of curiosity at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's true even as it operates within capitalism, right? And the thing is it's overcome by capitalism a lot of the times and gets co-opted and stolen and then it gets thwarted, right? But I think you're right. I think you're right because I think that the creative human spirit is the only thing which does develop technology.
Yeah.
Like it's the root cause of technological development, the most proximate cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the world we live in today, and I think coming out of this kind of accelerationist conversation, are we some kind of accelerationist? Are we cyber Luddites? Are we something else entirely? Whatever. Like really trying to think like, what could we do? What might we do? What can we do to spur tech? Because I mean, there hasn't been any technological advancements in our lifetimes. Like, I'm sorry,
true.
dude. There hasn't.
People are shocked by that idea, but it's true.
Yeah. Like it's, but also capital manages and controls and determines technology.
Yeah.
Globally. And it is also true that it's pouring trillions of dollars into its own infrastructure, capital, techno capital, like techonomics. It's taking everything that we do, the sum total of our metabolic activity upon the surface of the planet. It's extracting all our surplus value and pouring it back into itself, and it's creating something. And this is where maybe some people disagree, and that's fine. Some people may get off the bus, but thinking teleoplexically, thinking capital as AI, capital, like the AI dragging itself into the present from the future, like, it looks like that. Like, why else would the churn be doing so much, trillions upon trillions of dollars and billions upon billions of human tragedies? There's all this activity, there's all this energy being consumed, being reproduced, being expended and poured back into other things. Like, the activity on Earth is massive. To what ends, though? Like, we don't have anything to show for it.
Yeah.
But
the human doesn't.
Yeah, we don't. Supposedly the subjects of history. Like, capital is the subject of history. Thank you very much. We are absolutely not. But is there something we could do to restart tech, restart advancement and exploration and shit like that? Or maybe not we as in you and I, but we as in like people today.
Not that I know of. I mean, like, because when we say we today, what I think of is like, where would it come from? Where would it start? And then I think of you and I. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know if there's anything we can do, you
Yeah.
know? But I don't know. I guess what pops into my head is that there's been like people experimenting with like trying to do like shit like 3D printing solar panels of their own.
Yeah.
And like 3D printing, that's a technological innovation. And like, it's not, the problem is it's not, you can't beat Walmart's prices,
Yeah, dude.
you know? So like, so trying to like start like, oh, we're going to do this indie manufacturing thing. It's still more expensive than Walmart's shit, you know? You still can't make enough money to survive on underbidding Walmart.
Fuck.
And so that's the problem, and that's why it's like there's not really an incentive for you and I to do technological development.
Yeah. Outside of curiosity.
Outside of curiosity. Yeah. But curiosity requires space and time, which requires money.
Yeah. No, yeah, we come up in the same deadlock. Always we're lacking. Like we're lacking the resources, we're lacking support, structure, infrastructure. But I don't know.
It's like what we can do is subjectivity and friendship.
Mm-hmm.
You know? That's what we can do. And is there any guarantee that subjectivity, love, soul, friendship, that this culminates into the revolution which frees us from wage labor? Absolutely not. Like there's no fucking, you know, it doesn't teleologically point anywhere. You know, it's just like, what the fuck else are we gonna do? That's where I'm at. I don't know what else to do beyond that. You know,
I like that, and I think like
at least that makes the lives we live actually matter now.
Yeah,
it makes them, because I think like love is connected to the infinite. I really do. Whether or not the infinite is real, like Mikey said something about infinite drive a while back, and it's like, yeah, I think drive is infinite. I think love is infinite. I think like we are at the very least through love, we project ourselves out into infinity. Like I want to be with you forever.
Yeah.
You know, at the very least, that's like a fantasy in the best possible meaning of that term. Not in the sense of it's like a spurious sort of thing. I'm not even saying it in the like Lacanian way. I'm saying like, it's a sublime sort of thing, you know? So yeah.
Transcendental.
But does that lead to, is that a roadmap to, you know, the revolution? Like pragmatically, like, no, I don't think it goes there. Only because like we have to care for it for its own sake anyway.
Yeah.
We can't care for it for an ulterior motive anyway, you know?
I wonder if that's why the punks were self-destructive, because they came up against that. They were like, well, all we can do is try to suffer together. But they thought this has to change the world, but they saw that it wasn't going to change the world, and that's why they became so self-destructive.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I think that punk is like a perverse community, because it's like it's not we're gonna suffer together because like nature causes suffering. It's we're gonna cause each other suffering together.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, so I think like, but that what you just said might be the explanation of why that is the case. Why a community would come around about we're going to cause each other suffering, you know?
Yeah, it's this kind of teleological utility. Ultimately, at the end of the day, like utility, and in the piece I wrote about Epstein, someone commented on it, and they were talking about like waste, and the way I was talking about waste as sovereignty still begs the question of utility, and I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I agree with that feedback, but like, I guess trying to put it in words is why it comes back down to utility. Utility is the thing that we have to be on guard against. And again, like external validation and vindication and telos and purpose. Like we have to be willing to dive into care and dive into love for the sake of these things, not to try to extract any utility out of them, not to say like, this will accomplish anything. It's precisely because it will accomplish nothing is why it's worth doing in the first place. And we're so like conditioned to be purposeful, to be useful. Like we need to take back uselessness.
Yeah. Even if you want to be a revolutionary, I feel like you have to love the revolution. You know, I don't know what that means. I just said something. I don't know what it means. But I feel like because now I'm imagining a revolutionary who just loves the fight and doesn't give a shit what happens the day after.
I mean,
which is like most every revolution.
Yeah. Well, and that's why
that's actually a tension I have, because like what I struggle with Plato and what I've been thinking about a lot with Plato is like, for Plato, everything's connected, like so that the political and the existential and the metaphysical, all of these things, they go together. And so for Plato, there's not this question of like, is it instrumentalized or not? No, sorry, everything's already connected.
Yeah.
Right? There's no distinction. And there's something I find really attractive about that, because it's seeing the whole, but I also find something like I'm suspicious of at the same time, because I'm like, but are you just using the existential for political reasons? And I think that's a lot of people's objection to like the Republic, and like, is that it's philosophy. People, at least people, what people are worried about with Plato a lot of the time, I think, is that it's philosophy, this thing that's supposed to be an intrinsic love for itself, which is being instrumentalized by politics, you know? So I think that's where a lot of the suspicion comes from. But I'm also like, sorry, I think that the ancients were right. I think it all is connected, you know? I do think it all is.
It is all connected, but it's when we take it and we take it up and we become the masters of it. We sever the connection and we make it anew for ourselves. We become the sovereigns over the thing. So yes, everything is all connected, and we are all in this like cosmic space where all these things are happening and it is all interconnected. But like that's the point of the subject. Like it is all connected, but it's when we take it and we twist it up into a new knot in our singular way that like it becomes disconnected. And so you can love for the sake of love. You can care for the sake of care. You can you can love thinking for the sake of loving thinking, and you don't have to go back out and apply it. Like that's the magic of the subject. Like that's this transcendental operation that we do. Like we take the world and we remake it anew for ourselves. So the ancients are right, but also the ancients don't have a subject. Also, the ancients totally miss out on how we're implicated in the world around us. For the ancients, we're like little G.I. Joe figures for the gods or the cosmos or random fate or whatever to kind of pick up and move around and play with as they see fit. And that's the point of modernity. We are the masters of the universe. We are.
Dude, so Plato has a subject. Like, absolutely he does. But well, let me finish. So like, I think that the Republic is responding to I think it's responding to the death of subjectivity in its own time, or it's trying to awaken subjectivity in its own time. It is trying to do that. Well, Plato is concerned with nihilism. That's what the Republic's about. He's shocked and horrified about the nihilism of his city. You know, that people have decided that what really matters is fucking making money, that justice doesn't matter, that truth doesn't matter, you know? And so we're living through a similar nihilistic moment. We've decided that nothing matters, just capitalism matters, which is similar, not identical, but similar to the Athenian, the explosion of the Athenian market society at that time.
Yeah.
So this is what's Plato's concerned with. He's like, no, you have a soul. You have a soul. Yeah. Like, it's eternal, actually, you know? And I also think that this is what Lacan is interested in, right? Lacan is interested in, like, reminding you in some way that, like, no, the subject exists. You have a soul. Yeah. Descartes is too. Descartes is saying, like, I think Descartes, like, scientism about it was a scientific inquiry, a genuine scientific inquiry into the soul. I think he was trying to be like, use science to suggest that you have a soul. Really, I can prove it. It's right here. It's in this fucking organ.
Yeah.
You know? And so he's trying to sacralize, in using science to do it, sacralize the human and the subject. I think the subject is sacred.
Yeah.
You know?
I think absolutely. I think that is, you know, Descartes and Kant that is what happens. Like that's the movement. I don't know about the ancients. I think I enjoy not giving a shit about anything before modernity. Like I am invested in being the type of person who will proclaim to not care about Plato or Aristotle. And I do. And like I reading the Timaeus, I think is like one of the most enjoyable things I've ever read. That I also was like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't understand this. Like, and the Republic, same thing. Like, I think it's awesome. But I definitely enjoy being the type of person who doesn't give a shit about what Plato has to say about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess like it's one of those things where I guess my attraction to history and of thinking like periodization in history and I'm fascinated to watch how the subject has both completely changed throughout time and also how it's not changed at all.
Yeah.
And both of those things are true. It's both completely changed and also not changed at all.
Oh yeah, dude. Like looking back at clay tablets where people are like just writing letters back and forth on old clay tablets in Mesopotamia. And that's fucking fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. And so to me, like Plato is like a incredible window into that, is into the ancient mind, because he's really doing a kind of psychology. It's connected to everything else in Plato in the way that it is to some extent in Lacan, and how Lacanians cannot separate ontology from psychology. You know, this like Lacan himself can't do that. He's always sticking his nose into different everywhere. You know, and Zizek absolutely is.
Okay, Zizek is, but I think Zizek is right for doing so. I think Lacan is, and I think Lacan falls off at a certain point. Like if you go too far, like into later Lacan, I'm just like, this is garbage. Like I think late Lacan becomes an anti-realist. I think he becomes this idealist.
That's
like
Todd's. That's Todd's view too. And I honestly, I haven't read enough late Lacan to even have an opinion, but yeah.
But
I've mostly read like early Lacan because I like the Lacan that is still referring to Freud. Because then I get to learn more about Freud at the same time as I'm learning about Lacan, like get deeper into Freud, who I also take seriously.
yeah,
You know? So it's more useful to me to like hang out with the earlier Lacan. Like Seminar 7 and earlier, is that like early Lacan? I think like Seminar 7 is the last early Lacan, I want to say. Something like that. Yeah.
Like
so like that range of Lacan is like what I like more.
Yeah.
What I get more out of. You know, not to say that some important shit doesn't happen in 20, but I get more out of that, you know.
Well, I think taking early Lacan and middle Lacan, mid Lacan, I think like that's it. That's the essential corpus of work. And there's even shit that totally changes from early to middle. And but the way that it changes and the reason for it changing is also like informative and actually informs the theory and heightens the theory. But yeah, once you get past like 21, it kind of, I don't know, but
also, 20 is anxiety, right? I do really want to read 20 because I think the phenomenon of anxiety is like, I don't know, just important for me to think about. But
yeah, you should.
Or is that a sexuation? I don't know. Anxiety seminar. Let me Google
21
it.
Sexuation.
Lacan. It might be. Anxiety is book X. That's what it is. Actually.
But also, yeah, I'm a fucking idiot. And I also like to, I guess, make shit up and just and be like, well, yeah, that's because, you know, I read some Lacan and I read some Bataille and I read some Baudrillard, and now this is what I think. I prefer thinking about what I think instead of like doing the thing that people are like, and it's very tempting. And I do it all the time, like with Bataille. I'm like, no, that's not what Bataille's doing. No, that's not what Bataille's doing. but what's really happening is I'm trying to express my ideas. And I'm appealing to this authority. So like at the end of the day, I am far more interested in what people are currently thinking.
It's all like, and I think we should practice talking about what we think.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like we're what we're all really doing if we're thinking is like appropriating and stealing shit and using it for our own purposes, because that's what thinking is doing, you know. Like, you are thinking. Lacan's dead.
Yeah, dude.
He's not thinking anymore. You're thinking.
Well, and I was talking to Adam, and we were talking about universal politics and stuff, and he was talking about Ricoeur. And then I was like, well, yeah, that's all cool, but that's also just Kant and Hegel. Like, and then the conversation continued on, and he's like, well, and here's the point I'm trying to make. And I didn't say this to him, but I thought it. And I was like, well, just tell me the point you're trying to make. I don't care what Ricoeur is trying to say. I want to know what you're trying to say. But like, I do that same fucking shit all the time. Oh, Baudrillard says this, and Nicholas Luhmann says that, and it's Karl Marx says this, and it's like, no, like, let's talk about what we think. What are we saying?
Yeah, and normies hate that.
Yes,
like, or people who they hate name dropping, and like, and so like the more we can just be like, if we're gonna name drop it, we have to like explain it or like do something to like bring it down. And like, I'm sure I could work on that as well, you know. But like, I think we all should be like, you know, having conversations that with effort, you know, like any normie can approach with effort, right? We're not dumbing shit down. We're not making things less simplifying it below how complicated that they are, but we're just avoiding additional barriers.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But shit. Anyway, I don't even know how did we get on this? We were talking about Lacan and names.
We were talking about Plato and interconnectedness,
yeah.
And how Lacan is guilty of this. Lacanians are especially guilty of this.
Yeah, can we I feel like the impulse, besides the bureaucratic reason of it, to keep things separated is you're suspicious of laundering. So yeah, and I am suspicious of people laundering. Like I really am. Like when people want to launder their politics as metaphysics, pretend that they're metaphysics, pretend that their political opinions are actually metaphysical opinions. This is just the way it has to be, sort of shit.
Yep.
Like I hate that. But also at the same time, we do have to acknowledge that everything is connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Well, and not be so suspicious and not be so afraid of being duped that we deny the connections between everything.
And right? I think like the I don't know, the key maneuver is to realize everything is connected. What we do is we chop everything up and we disconnect everything. And then we perform a synthesis. And then we shoot it back out, and we create the world anew, and that's singular for everybody. And also we're socially constituted. So like doing this thing where we recognize the interconnectedness of everything as just that's a fact. That's the world we live in. We also recognize that we're implicated in the process, and we are remaking the world anew. We're going from the material world to the symbolic world. That maneuver, or we're doing this, transcendental, we're remaking the world. And also nothing would matter if I was just sitting alone on an island in a rock and a palm tree. Like we're social beings as well. So recognizing this is what I'm doing. This is what everyone else is doing. There is no cosmic adjudicator. So we have to come to terms. There will be contradictions. There will be some things that just don't compute, that don't cross over. And that's singular for each and every one of us. That's how we can do that without being overly suspicious, but without being completely functional idiots who think, oh, this just happened for no good reason. And that's why I think, the ancients, I don't fucking care about the ancients, because that doesn't happen until Kant. Kant is the one who shows us that we are implicated in the world around us. And Descartes starts it, and Hegel goes on to show how it's like this ongoing process. And so for me, it's like I want to culminate modernity. And yes, prehistory or pre-modernity is important, and it conditions the world that we live in today. It set up the dominoes, and the dominoes fell the way they fell because the way they were set up back then. But also, the world we live in is disconnected from the ancient world because the ancient world didn't have Kant.
So I agree, but I think that a way, or perhaps even the only way to go through this process of modernization, to go through this that we're living in now, I feel like is we have to sort of remember. I kind of think we have to remember what we've lost through modernity. We have to kind of remember the pre-modern, not to bring it about again, but to get a different perspective, like what changed, what was lost through modernity and through the process of modernization.
Yeah.
But I, like you, am very much in the way I say it, is I'm conservative for modernity. What I want is modernity, right? But it's there was also, through the process of modernization, something lost,
Yeah. Well, and I think, Adorno and Horkheimer, Walter Benjamin, I think they're all keen on this. I also think I think you're right. Something was lost. I
That
think
it's something else besides mere like fantasy lost object.
yeah.
There was
No,
something real lost.
There
Yeah.
was an
Yeah.
actual loss, not an imagined loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, I think the Frankfurt School was keen on that. I also think Levinas, like for me, that's what Levinas does. Like Levinas kind of shows like what we lost and how we lost it and why we lost it.
Yeah.
But again, this is like doing appeals and blah 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 this and that. Like at the end of the day, I think we all need to be able to.
What do you think then that we lost through into modernity? What did we lose?
Magic,
enchantment.
yeah, and I think taking the Frankfurt School and Levinas satisfies that. Like it shows, like there are ineffabilities in the world, and there are things that you cannot totalize and instrumentalize, and you cannot possess them. You cannot know them.
Yeah. Do you think the noumenon is like a good way to do that? Like to think about the things that you can't totalize, or no?
I don't know. I think infinities are different from noumenon.
Yeah. I'm kind of rethinking some shit that I was like held on to pretty tightly through the idea of the thing in itself, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm like, shit, maybe that doesn't do as much as I thought it did, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's like, but there is this like this stain, this non-totalizability that is important, that like I think psychoanalysis points to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think psychoanalysis points to it, and I think I mean this is why people still yearn for God or magic or mysticism or all these things. Like even if we disavow it, like we still yearn for it. Because it's there. But in the modern world where everything is a commodity, where everything has to be perfectly placed along this infinite shelf of objects, of commodity objects that are able to be broken down and made commensurable with everything else. Like everything is a commodity now. The world we live in is like our metaphysics is a metaphysics of the commodity. So these infinities or these lacks or these negativities or these unknowables or these ineffabilities or these surpluses, these things are strange and they're uncanny and they stick out like sore thumbs to us, and we're drawn to them. But we're constantly having to disavow them just in order to survive in the modern capitalist world. Because we relate to ourselves as commodities and the entire rest of the world as commodities as well. So like there's this eerie quality that can't be reintegrated into the symbolic, and it's driving us fucking crazy. Like it's eating at our hearts, it's eating at our souls, and so and it's pulling us ever more toward the nihilism that is Sid Vicious and Johnny Rotten. And all they fucking cared about was selling a goddamn record. And we're over here worshiping them like saints of the apocalypse.
Well, they kind of are. That's why they're saints of the apocalypse, because they only cared about selling a goddamn record.
That's it, dude. That's like, that's the poetic turn. Like, that's it. That's the truth of it all.
Yeah. I like that you said, I think you could tell that you had a good line there when you said it. Our metaphysics is a metaphysics of the commodity.
Yeah.
You said. So I think that's good. It's like an anti-metaphysics. So like our
Yeah.
metaphysics is yeah. And so metaphysics, to me, metaphysics and myth go together. Like we need to tell a story,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and this is how what we use to navigate the world. This is how I think about, you know, both of those things. And for me, like the noumenon has operated for a while as like the thing in itself is like an important myth. But it's sort of something I kind of want to like challenge in my own thinking, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing in itself is, I think it's like, there's the material world and then there's the symbolic world. So there's the world as such. And then there's the world that we inhabit. And it's the same thing, but it's also different because we're implicated in we're implicated in the symbolic world. We are the source of the world that we inhabit. So we're weird tautological creatures. But because that, like, we stain that world. We like we and even if it's I don't know, maybe it's never 1-to-1. I kind of don't care if it's ever an exact 1-to-1, like atomic level perfect reproduction. Like it's not to become.
Because one of the things is that like we can actually image atoms now, which is fucking crazy. Like we can actually, like, I think when I was in high school, I remember my high school teacher saying that like we couldn't do that because it's recent that we've been able to actually image an atom because like the wavelength of fucking light is too big to see an atom. So we had to invent the electron microscope, which is an incredibly clever, I say we, as though I had some fucking role in it. Like, some brilliant people had to invent the electron microscope so that, and then translate that back into an image that we could back into the visible light spectrum so that we could see an image with our eye of an atom. But you can go online right now, and for some reason, this doesn't blow everyone's mind, which blows my mind that it doesn't blow everyone's mind. You can literally go on Google right now and Google like actual images of atoms, and you will see the geometrical structure of matter.
Yeah.
Like that's fucking blows my fucking mind. They look like blurry little blobs, but they're literally atoms.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's fucking crazy. That's wild.
Yeah.
You know? But like, is the thing in itself though, are we getting closer to the thing in itself that we're able to see? Like if we were able to see quarks, are we getting closer to the thing in itself? Or have we completely lost the plot by trying to look further and further down, you know?
I think I'm of two minds of that, because I think in a sense, I think we have completely lost the plot, because I don't think the thing in itself was ever that anyway. Like the thing in the thing in itself was always a framework to demonstrate how we're implicated in our world.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. The transcendental. Yeah.
Yeah. The transcendent, like that's the magic is, that's the magic. Like we are magic. But I also do think, I mean, it is interesting that quantum stuff sounds a lot like Hegel to me. And I find that interesting. Now, will that pay off?
I'm like super skeptical of Zizek talking about quantum physics. I haven't read his like fucking books on it. But like, I just don't know, because I haven't really gone there as far as Zizek goes. But like, I'm like, are we sure we're talking about like Hegel here? We're talking about quantum physics, you know?
Well, that's the thing. Like I think, and I find it interesting because there is this ineffability, or there is this, it seems like this fundamental malfunction, like down at the base, the quarks, the quantum level, like it seems malfunctional. And I find that interesting. Now, does it really matter? I don't think it matters, because I don't think we can take down at that quantum scale. I don't think that translates to human scale.
Yeah. It doesn't. That's the thing. It can't.
Yeah.
right? That's like the point of quantum physics, is that the laws of physics make no sense at that level. They're just like, so this is why I think, instead of, no, I'm not saying that there's nothing to the Hegel thing. Like, but I'm saying like what I think of when I think about quantum physics. I think about Heraclitus. I think about like, what if at the bottom of it all is just fucking chaos?
Yeah.
That's what there is. There's chaos at the bottom of it.
The swerve, Lucretius.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And so that takes me back to the ancients. Is the most advanced fucking scientific breakthroughs we have today. The peak modernity takes me back to the ancients.
I mean, I'll grant you that it's interesting, but it is.
No, I think it is the fundamental problem, like that. Like Plato was dealing with the fundamental problem of how is it the case that things are always changing and yet we can still perceive things. There's still persistence. There's both persistence and flux. Plato was like, how do we fucking synthesize Parmenides and Heraclitus? Yeah. And I think we're still dealing with the same problem. How is that possible? And quantum physics is just telling us that this is more of a problem. Like, it's just reaffirming the problem. You know?
Well, and that's why I think it comes down to Kant. And it's like, Kant is like, yeah, maybe it doesn't matter why or how. Maybe what matters is that you are doing it.
Right.
Because I mean, when I think about that, and I do often, I will read about quantum stuff and be like, oh, this is interesting. This sounds like Hegel. This sounds like Lucretius. And I enjoy it. Yeah. I like it. But
yeah.
If I go too long, I will start to be like, well, then nothing is real. And we're like, you know, it's like, I got to take some acid and like go. Yeah. And what is that going to do? I don't know. Maybe.
So you're right. It does go back to Kant, because it's like what Kant reminds you is that you're the one structuring the world.
And that's why modernity is important. Like that's why. Yeah. Because Kant shows us you are the makers of meaning. Yeah. You are the masters of the universe. And we were structurally barred from being able to take up to answer that call. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, if we can ever answer that call, then we'll have everything we could ever want and more. And that's the only thing that matters ultimately. And that would take organizing around a universal lack. And that's something we can't put into language. Like, that's something that we can only ever approach, but never actually make contact with. But I do know that it's important to resist the temptation to just go out and shoot up a bunch of heroin and lay down in a park and fucking overdose and die. And that's a compelling temptation for someone like myself. And it's also important to resist the temptation to just sit back and become fascinated with all the little classifications of all the things. The infinite shelf. Jorge Luis Borges, brilliant writer. He inspired not a lot, but Baudrillard took some inspiration from him. He wrote a short story called The Library of Babel, I think is what the title is, but it's this infinite library, and it's basically the monkeys on typewriters thing, like infinite monkeys with infinite typewriters. Eventually they'll, but just the imagery of that, like an infinite shelf that's collated and alphabetized and organized, and it has everything. Like, that's what the commodity, or that's what the metaphysics of the commodity is. It's the infinite shelf where everything has a place for everything in its place. And, you know, to your heart's content, all you have to do is go down the long list of lines. Like, and it's like, I don't want that world. I want the messy, disorganized world. I want to order things in the way that I see fit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also like, it makes me think of like Kafka, but like like the Kafka-esque, but also like what I feel like also like the commodity is at the same time, that's true, but at the same time the commodity is like always wants you to believe that it has come up with different
Yes.
difference. It always wants you to believe that, no, this isn't just like all the other categories. This one is different.
Yeah.
And I made this for you.
Yeah. And
and this one will satisfy you.
Yeah. Oh, and that's why the commodity latches onto objet, like this lost object, because the lost object is this thing that will answer your desire. It will solve all your problems. That's how the commodity is marketed. The commodity is marketed as this will solve your problem. And the secret is that it fails to do so. And that's why you stay hooked on the commodity. And
exactly.
Maybe the next one will solve my problem. Maybe the next one will solve my problem. Dude, my fucking phone folds, dude. My phone folds for no fucking reason.
You know what? This is why I get so addictive to a turn-based game, because I'm constantly going the next turn, just one more turn. Dude, a live game does not compel me like that. It's the fact that I can be like, oh, one more. You know, that's what I get so fucking like so ridiculously addicted to a turn-based game. I can't stop. It's insane. Like I can't play them. Like a turn-based strategy game, I can't play them.
Those, I think that's probably my favorite kind of game too. Because they're, I don't know, they're more fun. They're more addictive.
But yeah, they're like, dude, like so addictive. It fucking hijacks my brain. I like.
Go play. I'm gonna go play Civ. Is Civ 7? I think, is that the new one?
7's the new one. I played it like my dad has it, so when I was over there, I tried it, and I was like, "Yeah, this doesn't have what 6 did. I like 6 better." But it's probably also 7's probably better because it would be less addictive to me though.
Because it sucks.
Like,
yeah,
because it like sucks more. Like it's just different. It might be someone's favorite game, but it's very different.
I think it was either Civ 4, Civ 3, or Civ 4. I think that was the one that really got me. Age of Empires 2 or 3, one of those really got me. But yeah, dude, I love those games.
Yeah. Well, shit. I don't know. I think everyone should read this ridiculous and impossible book,
Samuel
The
Beckett?
Unnameable by Samuel Beckett. It comes in a trilogy, but like The Unnameable is like, I think you have to read it all, but like the real shit is in The Unnameable, you know?
Which, where does it sit in the trilogy?
It's the third one.
Yeah.
Okay. But I just feel like it's uses word. I mean, obviously, a lot of like poets have accomplished this, but like it's a narrative that uses words that successfully gets at something that is genuinely beyond words. You know. At least that's what it did for me. I think a lot of people would probably, if they took my advice and read it, they would probably be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like, fuck you, dude.
But to me, I'm just like, this is it, you know? This is like fucking, yeah.
All right. So go read The Unnameable, or the trilogy, rather. And my recommendation, I will recommend a short story. I think it's like 1 page long.
This is a way better recommendation.
Yeah. Well, you recommended a trilogy. I'm going to recommend everybody go read She Unnames Them by Ursula K. Le Guin. It might be 2 pages long, but it's really short. But it's a really short story, and it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek untelling of Adam and Eve. But I think it also demonstrates this the active role that the subject plays in the world. And I think it's a really cool little fun illustration of that. Like it's demonstrating how Eve, and she's not named, but it shows how language is used to make and or unmake the world. And language standing in for the symbolic. The symbolic is not just language, but
Yeah.
Anyway.
So also, I have a project that I know I am going to do. I don't know if anyone's going to join me, but I want to study carefully the third critique from cover to cover. That
Why
is
not
like on my list of what I want to do soon.
Why not start? Why not start at the first one and go?
Just because the third is the one I've spent the least time with, and I want to spend the most time with. You know.
Okay.
So that's something I want to do. If you want to join me, or if anyone wants to join me out there in the world, hit me up. But like, yeah, that's something I'm going to be doing soon, I think, because I think like working through Kant in that capacity of aesthetics and etc., everything that's fucking packed in there is like, it's going to be it's an important project for me. It's something I know I need to do. So yeah,
I'm stoked on that, and I'm definitely will. I don't know how often I'll be able to participate, but I'll definitely down to fuck around.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, if you're out there in TV land, you're interested in that, hit Sean up. I think that's fucking dope, dude. That's the shit.
Yeah.
And on that note,
I mean, yeah, like my I changed my Substack name for just letting the world know. Like I said, my profile is still No Future, but I changed the name of my actual Substack to Hail the Shining Future. So, but I'm still out there.
That's tight.
So,
but the link should still take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing. The link will still do the same thing. Yeah.
Tight.
Yeah,
Hail the shining future.
I liked the ambivalence there.
Hail the shining future by No Future.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's dope, dude.
Yeah.
That's dope. On that note, ladies and gentlemen and non-specified friends of all shapes and sizes and colors and creeds and persuasions and all the other things, we will catch you on the next one. Don't talk to strangers. Check all your candy for razor blades. Don't play Dungeons and Dragons because it'll make you worship Satan and it'll turn you suicidal. And don't listen to Blink-182. We'll catch you on the next one.
Shouldn't your advice be to not do razor blades and listen to Blink-182? Wouldn't that be more consistent?
Don't check your candy for razor blades. Do listen to Blink-182. All right, peace.